We are streaming, saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Looked like you were saying the Pledge of Allegiance when I started the stream. Your hand was over your chest.
It was my left hand, man.
Oh.
Does it look like the right hand to you?
Nah, it looks like your left hand. I just wasn't paying much of attention. You gonna share it out on some of the other pages?
Nope. This is it.
This is it.
Yeah, I can check. I wonder if I can get Restream to work this time.
I got it to work.
Yeah, but I couldn't get it to log in last time.
I couldn't tell you what the password is. It just automatically logged me in.
Yeah, that was the problem.
Are you trying to log in right now?
Yeah.
We have one viewer. Throw Pro's Facebook.
Nothing. I should have thought of that before we started.
That's great. You can work on it.
Yeah, but I can't really because then you got to text me what you think the password is.
All right, hang on.
I tried the first one already.
Hey, we got a couple people watching. All right. Thanks for those of you who have joined us here in the middle of the afternoon. Random start time, but we both had time to do a episode, so we decided to do one. So, while Lucas is figuring out the password to one of our things, I'm just going to start us off here. So we'll see you guys here in a few seconds. All right. Welcome back. Another episode of Sit Your Axe Down. Ooh, that was loud.
Oh, my email?
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. This is episode 15. We're going to talk about a couple tournaments that we've been at the last couple weeks and probably some other random things. If you are watching, hit us up in the chat. We can, or at least I can see the chat. Lucas is.
I think I got it.
Try to be able to. But yeah, hit us up, ask us questions. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to know? And we will answer those comments. So, but
hey James, on a personal note, our venue is not on there anymore. Not on axsewing.org. So I meant to shoot you a message today, but
yeah, everything seems good on our end with the app. Maybe a couple things where like I think myself and Brian are red, but we don't sort with advanced. I think that maybe they fixed that recently, but I know last time I really paid attention to it, it didn't work. So
didn't work the sorting.
Yeah, I think it still like pulled us into AM.
Oh, gotcha.
I think it might be fixed that now though. Yeah, I think I looked the other day. Can't recall right off the top of my head.
Ours has been working good. I think.
Yeah.
Everything has been good. I think the only thing I would say is maybe the colors could be a little um
More contrasting.
yeah, for the like once you've hittable, like if you are throwing in a tournament, to be able to look at the tablet like really quickly and just see that that's the only part that that's the only part that really matters is what's grayed out.
I would really love dark mode,
Oh,
especially
really?
because I know that it doesn't necessarily matter. I think it might help, maybe help with some battery life on some tablets, at tournaments and stuff. But I think that the dark mode would probably allow more contrast with the existing colors.
Dark mode's on the backlog, Kyle. It's happening.
There we go.
But on the color, like a contrast would make it to where you could easily just glance at it and say, "Oh, I've already hit those five." Like even if they were just like completely black, and then I knew for sure that those were the ones I'd hit instead of just like a slightly grayed out version.
And you're
Um,
referring to the tournaments.
yeah, I mean, even for yeah, because I don't league isn't as important. I don't you don't
Yeah,
really need
because
to look
league changes it to
at fives.
fives. Yeah, so I think that's
Mhm.
easier to see. But
Yeah, mostly just tournaments for that. And then there was one more thing that I ran across recently, but I'll remember. I'll message James and get
yeah,
that feedback with. But but thanks for hopping on, James. Everything else has been really cool with the app. The changing of being able to tell sixes versus eights is cool. Um, and I think the only other thing, another really cool thing would be able to tell first half versus second half scores for advanced, which I know is probably a fair amount of work to do, but a 1 through 5 versus a 6 through 10 are drastically different throws. So it'd be cool to kind of see your on a personal level, like my stats for each of those.
sure. Yeah, I was real
But
happy when we got the split kills. Um, I like seeing that data,
yeah,
sixes versus eights. So
but
yeah.
all right. So last time we were on, we talked about Arizona.
Yep. Yep. Last time we talked about Arizona, that was the first major. Then we went to the first tier one of the year in Salt Lake City, Utah at Social Acts. That was the Rumble in the Rockies. Um, my first, personally, my first time outside of the airport in Utah. Um, really,
Outside of
really
well, the
cool
airport's
place.
basically like a YMCA.
What's that?
So airport's basically like a YMCA or a Planet Fitness,
Sure.
with all the Southwest
Oh,
is like
jeez, yeah. Screw
actual,
that. Screw that airport for walking. My
actual
God, it
10 minute
was
walk
awful.
to get to the Southwest part of the terminals.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
terrible. I have short legs, so I don't travel as fast as like Tyler. Tyler, one of Tyler's steps are like four of my steps, and it was exhausting. Yeah, but I got him to slow down. But
but
then we
yeah, so
we squeezed into the clown car.
that's true.
That was phone stop. Um,
Not not ideal. We rented a car, but we had 5 people, and with all of our luggage, we wouldn't fit. So then Tyler got us an Uber, and it was quite possibly the smallest car that I've ever been in. Like I think we would have been better off in like a Mini Cooper or anything.
we would have been
But
better off in a smart car. Those little
yeah,
tiny go karts.
we got in this car and we had to like all 1, 2, 3 squeeze out the door, and then the lady was like, "And go ahead and put your seatbelts on," and we were
That's not gonna happen.
like, "Oh well, we can't have that," so pulled over and uh, made Tyler get out and sit up front.
Yeah.
It was still hard to put my seatbelt on just with one person.
Oh, sure.
So That's how small the car was.
Yeah, it was wild. It was
Um,
wild. Yeah, but it was good. We
it was
stayed.
a tournament, but
Yeah, we stayed in a really nice Airbnb. Lots of mountains, snow covering all the mountains. So it was a really pretty place. But yeah, social acts. We started off in their venue in Ogden.
yep,
What do we do there? Duels.
duels. Yep.
Did duels there. Um,
Again,
what's that?
I think Tyler and I are destined to throw duels together. It's just that we always get like third.
Yeah, so duels was a fun little tournament. The same couple of jerk offs finished third place. That was not a jab at Lucas and Tyler. That was their actual team name. Same old couple of jerk offs. Wolves of Odin finished in second. That was a team of Colin Adams and Bradford Goodwillie. And then the Statesmen took the win. So, Statesman was a team of Dylan Teets and Garrett Knighting, who got to sleep in his own bed for this tournament. So,
Yep. All right. So that was your first time there. It was my second time.
in Ogden,
No, just in at a
yeah,
social life.
yeah. So social. Oh yeah. So, dude, they do things a little different out there in terms of like the way judging is done, and I can respect that. They have their own ways of doing things and stuff, but um
I don't actually know if anybody had, and I don't know if anybody actually got a fault for it,
yeah, I don't think so.
but they sometimes put too much emphasis on saying lanes are live after every throw instead of
Sure, they want the lanes to physically be called live prior to throwing, and so it's really hard. It was really hard to like maintain any kind of rhythm because you're used to grabbing your axes and walking back at your own pace instead crossing the line and doing your own thing. Except here you had to listen to the lanes are live. Um, yeah, I mean, I think we addressed all that stuff
yeah.
with the people at the venues. It was unique, but yeah, I mean, I think the hardest thing for me was like the it was a venue that was designed as full single lanes. So like the judge had to walk all the way up, score, and then walk like all the way back around the fence and walk back up to the other side. And so sometimes that could take a long time, but that's a business thing. It works for them to do their lanes that way, and yeah,
Yeah. That part didn't bother me as much. I've been to a bunch of venues that have that, but not this year, but 2 years ago, the lanes are live thing cost me essentially $1,000.
sure,
Um, and it wasn't because I faulted, it was because I, and granted, I could have known the score and they could have still been doing the lanes are live thing, but they weren't saying the score. So I thought that I was up by more than 8. So I just went kill on throw 10 and missed. The other person hit. They also thought they lost. So we tapped axes. They left the lane. And then the judge was like, no, you guys are tied. And then that was game 2. I lose that game. And then I'm mad about it. So I lose game 3 as well because I throw like crap. Um, and so, yeah, I've just never been a fan of that. It was explained to them now that it's not actually a rule and that you couldn't technically fault anybody for that. So
yeah,
I think
not since like 2022.
yeah, I think it's all taken care of. I just wanted to know your thoughts and anybody else that
Yeah,
was.
definitely. For me, it was one of those things where it was like, usually you're used to just hearing the judge like tell you what throw or what the score is,
And
um,
that really
and
is
that's it.
an of lanes are live. I mean, the actual rules is that both players have crossed the line,
Yeah. Well,
right?
what I was going to say is like, so you're used to hearing that, and then now you've got this person going, The lanes are live, and it just was weird to hear that like in your like setup for your throw, and just extra words that you had to pay attention to. And there were times where, um, at least in Big X, where like listening to this judge who was very slow to call lanes are live, and like it'd be halfway like in my drawback before they would say lanes are live, and it was just like so annoying to hear that in my like drawback for my throw. So
I never was throwing when it happened, but I think there were several times where I started to like do my throw, and then I was like, did they say lanes are live yet?
sure.
Should I be throwing yet? So
And that
that
little
was
bit of hesitation can totally screw up your throw.
um
For you, it's like that's a difference between a 6 and a 5, but for me, it's a difference between a 4 and a 6.
what all right, what was the next thing? And then I got one more question about the tournament.
Next thing. Next
Yeah, well,
thing, we went to their Salt Lake City location for. Did we do Hatchet and Big Axe on the same day, or did we do
yes.
them
No.
separate? No, we did Hatchet one day, and then Big Axe, and then the other duels thing.
Yeah, so there was AM, but they did open first, then AM.
Correct. Yep. And Open Hatchet. Open Hatchet was good. I had an issue in my first couple games, like with like the atmosphere out there was incredibly dry. So like my hands were so slick that I would notice that the axe would just want to fly out of my hand sometimes. Um, so like I kind of had to do like what a quarterback does before they go up under center, kind of lick their fingers to make sure they have a good extra grip on the ball. But Open Hatchet was a fun tournament. Nick K finished third. He drove all the way down from Calgary through a crazy snowstorm that was coming up through the northern United States, and then Teets finished second, and Lucas took his first Open Hatchet win of the year. First, yep.
I was less excited about, well, I mean, I was excited to win, but more excited about the belt.
Yeah, that was one of the coolest trophies.
I don't have
It was a really cool trophy. You don't have it with you, do you? Is that what you
No,
just said?
it's in the car.
But yeah, then Am Hatchet followed, and Am Hatchet was fun to watch. Chrissy Teets was killing it. She was doing really well. Jacob Sherman, who throws out of social axe, ended up in third. Chrissy ended up winning a bracket, and then eventually falling to the winner. But Chrissy finished second, and she was by far and away the best am thrower on the day, though. And then Bradford Goodwillie took first place in Am Hatchet overall, finishing out Hatchet. So
Then Big X, or no, wait, Saturday night, did they do any?
no.
What did we do Saturday?
Saturday we did our test run.
Oh, yeah. Then we did the little skills thing we're going to talk about a little bit later. But then Sunday was Big X.
Yep. Big X, and then Twisted Duels.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
All right. Who were the top three in Big X? It was
Big X. Wes finished third. Tyler finished second, and Teets taking the win in Big X.
Tyler's racking up those second places.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was Rumble in the Rockies. We did do Twisted Tools. After Big X, though, same couple of jerk-offs ended up taking the win. And
we threw better at Twisted Duels than we did at regular duels.
Oh, for sure.
I bet we threw more 12s in Twisted than we did in regular.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
or we just dropped because neither of us hit each other.
Yeah, maybe should have just threw Twisted.
Yeah,
They would
we
have
should
allowed
have
it.
from the front. That would have been better.
Yeah, that was Rumble in the Rockies. What did we do? Oh yeah.
And then
After
Super
that,
Bowl.
we went to to a bar to watch Super Bowl and then had a lot of fun there.
Um, all right. So my other question was, and I don't think we really talked about this at all. So I don't know if you what your thoughts are, but the price of the tournament.
Price was crazy. We chatted about it like
Like, right?
prior to registration, but
You think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
um, I think it depends on the added money that you bring into the tournament because I mean like most people most tournaments pay based on entry fees and almost entry fees alone. I mean there's some added money here and there, but the cost of all the because there was no knives, but the cost for all three disciplines was what $140.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think it's great that it was cheap. Um, but if that, so we got our tickets pretty early,
Yeah,
plane wise. So like it was virtually like a normal cost of a flight, but like that's because we got them in like I don't know September or October, I think something like that. Um, I think I checked in December, which was still 2 months ahead of time, and in December the flight costs were like $800 a ticket.
yeah,
So like, there's no way to justify going out there um, at that cost unless you knew
right.
that the prize pool was going to be significantly larger than what it was. But at the cost we paid, not that bad. The other thing is like almost every other tournament's going to be significantly more expensive than that. So, um, if especially like with the amount of local throwers that were there, if like that's what they expect out of a tournament in terms of cost, they're not going to find that anywhere else.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like, I get it. I think like if they had lowered that price and then because they lowered the price, they had gotten 100 signups, then I think it's worth it.
Sure.
But I think they got the same amount of signups that they would have gotten if they had charged $300.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think it really helped them get more signups. So I don't know if they just sacrificed money for themselves as well as the throwers, or I guess they helped out the people that didn't place in anything. But
Sure.
then if you did get like third place, or you did get fourth or fifth, if there had been you know 500 more dollars in each discipline, then that would or there'd been 1,000 more dollars in each discipline, that would have been $500 for the venue and 500 more dollars that they could have paid out, which could have meant fourth and fifth place got $200 or 250.
Sure.
So I don't know. I was just interested to see. I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that that's not one of the things that's mandated.
Yeah, I
So
kind of agree. I think that it kind of gets like policed on its own almost sometimes. Like, I feel like
sort of,
most venues try to go ahead.
I wanted to know if I could just charge $1,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, as long as you had money added to the.
Well, you don't. There's only certain thresholds that you have to add, though.
No. I totally get that. But I mean, if you only charged $1, like people aren't going to travel for that.
They might if they don't have to pay anything to get in the tournament.
Yeah, but they're not going to win anything.
A lot of people go and don't win anything to begin with.
Yeah, but I think there's the chance that they win
Sure,
something.
but now there's no chance. So there's nothing to be worried about. You already know how much money you're going to spend to do it, and you have nothing that you're getting in return. So there's no pressure. There's nothing you know, if you lose, you're getting the same amount of money as if you win.
True.
So I think that there are a lot of people that would still come if you did that. I don't think it's a good idea. I'm just saying I think that I think it's a bad idea, but I think that not having a mandated minimum price for a ticket kind of allows things like that could happen in the future.
Sure.
So yeah, like if it was $5 per discipline and you kept 250 and paid out the 250 plus added whatever money you need to, like if it was a tier 3, I don't think there's a required added money.
No.
So then you could run a tier 3 for, you know, $10, $20, whatever, a realistic number, but most venues are used to getting $20 or $25 an hour. So if you only charge 20 or $25, you're probably getting more money than you would have if you had a full booking of lanes.
Sure.
So I mean, I don't know. Problem is you couldn't do cash though, Jimmy, and actually have it seeded and be a tiered tournament. Just you'd have too many people not show up, and then it wouldn't be able to be seeded, or it would be a mess with buys and all kinds of crap. But
Yeah.
I don't know, just something to think about. Curious what other people think. If you watch this later and you think that the pricing is should be or could be less than normal, or if you think it should be regulated, leave us a comment so we can talk about it more.
Yeah.
The I don't think there were really. There might have been one other tier 3 in between. I can't remember, but I don't remember what it was. If there was between Utah and this past weekend, but this past weekend there were 2 knife tournaments.
And a hatchet tournament. President's Day in Nashville had a hatchet as well. But yeah, what was the other one? Axe Shack? Did you have the info on Axe Shack?
What about it? Sorry.
Did you have the info on
Oh,
Axe
I
Shack?
have some info about Act Shack, but I did close out of it. But I can pull it right back up.
Well, while you pull it back up, I'll talk President's Day then. So Bad Axe Nashville had its 3rd annual President's Day tournament. However, this one was a little bit different than the ones in the past. There was knife and knife duels on Sunday, this past Sunday, and then Monday was because it's a tier 3, it was an open hatchet tournament that went by amateur rules, which is how tier 3s can be. So Sunday knife knife started off good. I felt pretty good in knife. Finished 5th myself, but Aiden Kent, I believe, from Houston. Is that right?
Around there, somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere there. Works for Colby and Michael. Aiden Kent finished 3rd. Jeremy Hanna from Murfreesboro at a jack split finished 2nd. And Lucas took the win in the world's bid for knife. Took that home, so congrats there. And then knife duels came around, and forgot how to throw knives completely. Embarrassing performance. So Lucas will never want to throw with me again. But
yeah, but not if you're throwing.
What's that?
Not if you plan to throw those banditos for sure.
No, I threw them in the trash.
Yeah,
they're gone.
they just throw them out the window on your way home and let somebody else find them or
Yeah,
save them.
just the Blackhawks. So
Um,
I love knife duels too. I was excited. I tell you what, I felt like, you ever seen the movie Varsity Blues?
have I seen the movie? Yeah.
Yeah. The scene the scene at the towards the like the third, like basically the end of the second, beginning of the final act of the movie, Billy Bob brings his pig bacon over to uh, Mox's house and leaves it there, and he goes and finds Billy Bob, and he's like shooting his trophies and drinking and crying and all that stuff. And he talks about how, like, who cares about Bud Kilmer's whatever number of tournaments or district titles he's won. And Billy Bob's like, I cared about that. That's how I felt after knife duels. That was the only thing I gave a shit about in the entire weekend, was that knife duels thing. And
Jimmy, you should contact TJ Schultz with all of your broken knives. He wants to buy them to make a chandelier.
oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Um, yeah, knife duels was not good for us, but it was good for.
Yeah, so Mustache and the Beard, which is Mike Dixon, Jeremy Hanna, they finished third. And
Okay.
then Aim for the Bushes finished second. That's guys from my venue, Nick Scott and Daniel Murphy finished second. They threw very well that day, so good job, guys. But they were thwarted in the finals by Collision Course, which was a team that didn't exist prior to that tournament, which was Kyle Spielman and Aiden Kent winning first in knife duels and taking home a world's bid. So Collision Course, good job, guys.
Congrats to them.
And then I didn't stay for Monday. I went home, but Lucas came back Monday and threw Hatchet. Um, Jacob, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last name because it was very difficult, but Jacob from the Panhandle, Florida, finished third. I think he was one of the only ones who'd thrown like multiple 60s.
He had multiple 60s.
Yeah. How many did you have?
I mean, I had at least two 62s. I don't know what else I had to do.
Yeah, okay. So you and Jacob both threw multiple 60s. And then Ryan Gustin finished second, and Lucas took the win. But yeah, tell me how it went. It was weird because I don't know that very many people threw from 15.
Um, Ben was, and a couple
Ben's
of
was.
people when he would throw against them, they would opt to throw it as well. And originally, Ryan and I had talked about like if we played, we were going to do that, but then I decided not to because I didn't want to throw, 100 throws all from the front, and then for one match, try and throw from the back.
Sure.
If we had been doing it all day, I was disappointed that they didn't have enough amateur signups to have an AM bracket and an open bracket. So I was looking forward to throwing from 15, but it's fine. It's what it is. I'm more disappointed that I had two chances for 64s and missed low kills by I don't even know the smallest amount possible to get a 6 instead of an 8 and then hit my 8. So I got 62 twice in the exact same fashion.
But would it have counted?
What do you mean? I mean, it would have counted as I would have been the first person to throw an AM 64.
That's true. That's true.
I'm also just not going to get very many options to throw AM. So that might have been like the only time I'm going to throw AM for who knows how long.
Sure. Very true.
So unless there's another small tournament that doesn't get enough AM signups and they have to change it to that. But
Sure.
I don't know tier threes I plan to go to that would even fit that criteria.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have enough people, to split it up, great. I mean, I get that you don't have to, but um, I think it makes sense to split it up.
Yeah.
All right, what'd you find out about Axe Shack? Pull that up.
Did I find stuff out? Let's see. Third place was Catherine Dowie,
Nice.
and second was Eaton Goldmere, and first place was Kev Fang.
There
I
we go.
took a look at the. It looks like Kev Fang, even though he was the second seed, he actually lost his second game. So he lost both of them in Who Sucks Less, it looks like. And so he was in B bracket for most of the day, which would have been interesting because he would have played Eaton had he won. So they would have played in like the third round. So instead, Eaton was able to make it to the A final after beating Tyler Wood, who beat Kev Fang. And yeah, so Kev worked his way out of B, came back up, and was able to beat Eaton twice. And all the scores looked really good, though. Looks like they had several Who Sucks Less. I would love to know like exactly how those went. That'd be cool to know, but because I think I had at least three of them against Jeremy in the finals.
Sure.
I know two. I know the very two last games were both Who Sucks Less.
Yeah,
And
it was an exciting finals to watch with you guys.
yeah, he was being a jerk and throwing a lot of sixes from the back, which was not
Yeah.
cool. And I was like, I would have a lead, so I was trying to kind of play it a little bit safe and not, give away a match. Um, and yeah, he just kept hitting sixes. But yeah, I like the new Who Sucks Less rules. That was the first time I'd gotten to really do it and see it in action. Um, well, overtime slash Who Sucks Less type of thing.
Yeah.
Was cool. Kind of gave some opportunity to strategize a little bit.
The one thing that I think that I don't like about it is that I feel like you should be just throwing out one kill shot.
You can.
Right. No. I agree you can. But like for me, like I think you should be throwing all three knives at one kill shot. Just like you would
Well,
be throwing at the bullseye. Stack it. It's more exciting.
I mean, if you're smart, you're gonna try and stack them anyways, so that you have some backboard. But
Yeah. But if you screw up and end up blocking it, then you can just like throw it the next open.
don't tell anybody though. Yeah, but so Kev Fan got his world's visit. He was probably going to get one from the leaderboard. I'm not really sure, but yeah. So I think there's already two or three people that are in the top 10 right now on the leaderboard that are out of the way. So it looks like it's going to drop down to at least 12th, 13th.
Yeah. People
So
punching tickets.
yeah, if you're in the if you're on the leaderboard and you have a score that's in the top 13, or maybe it's 12, I don't know, 12 or 13, then
Unofficially.
yeah, then unofficially it's looking like you still have a pretty good chance to get a bid from the season.
They do knife duels at Axe Shack?
Oh, they did, but I don't know the team names. I know that Kev Fang and Catherine won, though.
Oh yeah.
But I
Cool.
don't know names because can't see their names without looking it up.
Clicking on stuff, yeah.
I don't really want to do that.
Well, yeah, that was the tournament since our last episode. Um, Next thing on our agenda is to discuss the new team skills series.
Oh, ooh,
So yeah, we should have planned ahead and had Tyler come on to talk about it too.
We can just call him, see if he shows up.
I can.
So interesting. Kev Fang is actually in 13th place on the leaderboard.
I do actually have that 3-person scene on here still. So like, if he did want to jump in, I could probably add him, and I think it would just work. Hopefully.
He probably is not available, but we can ask him. Oh, are you already calling him?
No, that's my desk phone.
I was like, it's not what mine sounds like, but
I
okay.
don't know why nobody's answering the phone though. They're up front.
No.
All right, we're gonna try this. Join us. I think I'll have to let him in. Watch it not work at all. Like totally screw up the.
Oh, that's okay. If it does, we'll just hang up on him. He probably won't even read it for like 5 minutes. So,
No, he already said it. Or he already saw it. Said he was watching us.
oh, oh yeah, Tyler, it might have changed to 20 bids per season. I just now looked at the comments again. I haven't. People kept asking me like about rules, and I kept telling them I don't really know.
I would think that this counts as work. So
Yeah, this is work.
this counts
Throwing.
as work. Join us. Oh, he's in. He's waiting. All right. We're going to try. It's going to screw up this sequence. Let's see.
It's fine.
Let's see.
Howdy.
Hey,
Can you guys hear me and everybody else?
I can hear
Yeah.
you.
People watching.
we're about to find out if we can,
I
but
can hear.
we can. All right. Well, we were just going to talk about the skills, obviously, a little bit. Since you were watching, you already know that that's why you're here. But we
Well, now
we
it's an awful echo. Oh, because I'm still listening to it, probably.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely it.
but yeah, we were able to test the skills a little bit in Utah. We just grabbed a couple of people that are typically throw together on their team, and we had enough people from our team, and we just did a quick little kind of run through of some of the team skills events. If you guys haven't seen it yet, you can check that out on what used to be Pro League Series is now being kind of just renamed to Team Skills. But it went pretty well. We figured out a couple of things that I think we're gonna try again in Texas.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Tyler has a fancy. He shared a document and some stuff last week that kind of goes over it. But anybody that's watching, if you've taken a look at it, love to know your thoughts.
Yeah, I think
But
my favorite thing, I mean, aside like relay is relay. And that's fun. I really dig the split game.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I think it's really going to show thrower skills, like what they're able to do. It's going to show like the duels portion for one team, like how tight can you get your implements, and can you hit the kill shots while doing it, and then like who's going to be able to split said implements. So
Well, and there's a lot of decision making in it too, which I think is really cool, right? Because it depends on how far your team is up or behind. Because like if you throw two X's really close together, then chances are I can still try to hit that kill from the side,
Yeah.
right, and get my 1 point, and that'll be probably an easy 1 point. Or I can try to go for the 3, but then I risk getting 0, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of like, do I go for the safe 1 point to like make sure that we don't get too far behind, or do I, do we need these 3 points? Do I have to go for the 3?
Yeah. I think another thing that maybe we should add in there that I just thought of is that if the axes are stuck and you hit one and it falls out, that it still counts for what it was stuck
Yeah,
in.
so someone did ask that, and we did say that because you score your points
Yeah,
when you throw
I called you the other night and asked you about that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So your points score as soon as your throw is done. So those points are already on the board that don't get taken away.
Yeah.
The only
Go ahead.
thing that I think would be something that we could try is if we did do that to where you throw at your own and you still were able to score points that way.
So like you and Kyle throw in duels at our kill, and then I try to split our own kill.
Yeah. And you just do I'm interested to know what that round would look like, because I think I don't know.
That would be interesting too, because then like
again,
you don't need to be automatic for like if you have a drop and you can't split it, you don't need to automatically give it the points. Like we just can't get a split then.
So I think that's what you would do. So me and Lucas throw, and we both hit the kills. The opponent throws and drops. Then the team who threw the duels should get an opportunity for an extra point because they dropped.
That's making it real complicated.
By splitting their own axes.
I mean, I like it, but I think that is a.
Yeah, I don't know about that part.
That's a complicated addition that we would have to really think about. Maybe in the future, right? Like after people really understand these rules, then we can like start to play with them a little bit more.
Yeah, I do like the addition of like Robin Hoods are 0, so that like we discourage people destroying other people's axes.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I like the changes that we made where we have like you're trying to split big axes with a knife and knives with a big axe so that you reduce the potential.
Aren't throwing 3 big axes, yeah.
Yeah, reduce the carnage to people's axes. That way, like people may not necessarily feel like they have to have like a completely separate big axe with them.
Yeah. I would almost be okay with going back to doing it with big axes if it was all within your own team.
That's true.
Like, I mean, I still think it's probably better to do it the other way, just to create a better chance for people to feel more comfortable doing it.
Sure.
Overall, but I do think there might be I don't know. I think I would be more comfortable trying to split 2 axes of people that I know, and I wouldn't feel that if I mess them up, versus 2 people I don't talk to very often through their axes, and then I screw up and hit their axe or whatever. I mean, I just think there would be a little bit of a safe. It would feel safer throwing it at 2 people that are on my team.
Yes, sure.
I get that.
Because then, like, you're not in a situation where, like, if we win the match but our axes are broken, it's like it's not because the other team broke our axes.
Right. It's because
we broke our axes.
Yeah, because like I guess it would make sense because like if you like Lucas, if you're throwing to split somebody's axes and you just like completely destroy somebody's axe, they're gonna think you did it on purpose because like they're gonna go, well, he should easily be able to split that half an inch gap with that big axe and not destroy my axe.
Yeah, easy game for babies.
But yeah, something like that. I think it would be. I don't know. We should maybe test that once and see if people like it more than the other, because then you also can give me permission, right? Like if you get a really close one, you're like, we need the points.
Go for it.
Yeah. Or like,
Yeah. So that I mean that one thing I was gonna say when I first got on here too, before we get in, I don't know if you wanted to like explain the games and stuff, but just to keep in mind too that the whole point of this is a test, right? We're running events on this, but this is going to change.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like like we're gonna probably make changes between every single event.
And I'm
Just based on feedback, based on stuff. One thing for sure is like we just kind of like made up what the points should be
Sure.
because we don't know how the games are going to play out. So for sure, the point values for things are going to change.
yeah. And I just come up with new ideas every time I play it. So I'll
Yeah.
probably like one of the most notable things, Tyler and I were convinced that No Bleed Knife would be a good
Oh,
idea.
no.
So
That's
convinced
yeah.
that
That's we did that at
At the first
Drinker
PLS.
last year at the first PLS, and it
Yeah.
was overwhelmingly a failure.
we were
Yeah.
so we were like, dude, No Bleed Knife is definitely the way to go. And
We
then
were so convinced.
3 rounds in, we saw each other.
We were both like, no,
Yeah.
this isn't it.
So yeah, things take a little testing to prove yourself wrong or right sometimes. Shut up, Sebastian. Nobody asked you.
Yeah. Sebastian won that tournament.
Yeah, but he was throwing tiny knives still then.
Yeah.
I don't think
That
he
is
was
true.
Blackhawks then.
Yeah, they were butter knives.
Didn't like it anymore. Okay. No, yeah, it didn't go the way we necessarily thought it would. The 4 is still too big.
Yeah. I think maybe with a different target, it works a little bit better or differently, but if you
All
want to
right.
play it on the same target, I think.
Yeah,
what
and
we've
then
got
another
now
thing,
is
like
better
Tyler had also said too, like when we decided to do the team skills series, there was a lot. There's been a lot of discussion about like team melee, and we just wanted to let everyone know like we're not team melee. We're not trying to take anything away from the melee championship series. We hope that it goes on in 2024 and participate. Yeah, so we're totally separate from that. We do want teams that do exist to still participate in this too. But our team, I don't know if you've read the things that Tyler put out there, like the way the teams are set up, like it's ideal for like teams of 3 to 5. So, for example, like Murderers Row, if we had like we have 6 people that show up to a tournament, we would enter 2 teams of 3 into the team skill series. If we have 9, we'd put 3 teams of 3. So still utilize
or a team of 5 and a team of 4.
Correct, yeah, team of 5 or team of whichever one depends on who it is and their strong suits and stuff like that. So if you have large teams still, you're still going to be able to enter in your existing teams. You're just going to be able to utilize more of your throwers, which you couldn't always do in melee. But also, like we noticed with team melee, like some teams struggled to get 5 people. So now we've created an event that you could do with 3 people if need be.
You could even do it with 2, right? Because you could just pick up another person.
Correct.
While you're there.
Yeah, so that's the other big thing is right. You can sign up with whoever you want. Like while there might be existing teams out there like Murderers Row, there's nothing stopping from like, hey, Lucas and I are at a tournament and we want to throw in the team skills, and for some reason Kyle and Teets and
nobody else
Chris
can.
and Brandon, no one else is there. You're like, hey, Thaddeus, you want to throw with us? Like,
sure.
There's no like set rosters that you have to follow event to event, so you can throw with different people every time.
We're not tracking wins and losses like throughout the year right now or anything like that. It's a very much like one event and then move on to the next event. So if you have a team, feel free to throw with that team over and over again, or feel free to throw as a new team every time. It's not going to necessarily matter as far as that right now.
This first event in Texas, like I just said, it is our first event that we're doing. I think that we probably all foresee like there will eventually be probably caps too on how many teams that we can enter,
for sure, yeah.
Because it otherwise it'll just take way too long. So we haven't nailed down exactly how we're going to do registration for this one, but be on the lookout.
I think that eventually we'll probably have to do it like a skills ticket is sold for most of the ITF events,
Correct.
where there's only X amount of tickets. The tickets are per team. And so you have to, somebody on your team will need to purchase a ticket, and then, maybe it costs whatever we've decided, but then, the other people on the team will have to, pay you back from there.
So Eric asked when the first event is. We're going to do the first event at Jolly Good Time at Dringer in a week and a half.
Still going to be a beta event, very fluid.
But like we were saying, like basically every event this year is going to be a beta event, right? Until we do want to do some sort of like championship at the end of the year.
No,
but
the next event after that will be Gamma.
Okay, sure.
But then Jimmy also asked, but what is the purpose of having a team if that's the case? So, I'll tell you the purpose of having a team. The purpose of having a team is that potential sponsors are going to. It's going to be easier for you as a team to get sponsors than it is for you to get sponsors as an individual. There's more of you who are going to be able to expose the potential sponsor to more people. So that's the purpose of keeping and maintaining teams. Yeah, and the purpose, like, I'm assuming you're referring to like that you can have anybody else added to the team at any point in time. Well, like we said, this is the first season. We're not keeping track of that stuff yet, but eventually we will. And then it'll be good to have that team.
Yeah, I think for me, I think it is another just way to build, community, but keep your, like you can become closer with a group of people.
Sure.
And it kind of gives you a good
the best answer to Sebastian's question is possibly.
What?
Sebastian asked, will it be one entry for all team events or pick and choose?
It'll be
possibly.
Oh.
Wait, do you mean like, I think he means, and clarify if I'm wrong, Sebastian, do you mean like Melee you had to pay as a team up front and that got you into every event, or can you just sign up event to event? We are doing sign up event to event.
Yeah.
So at every event, it'll just be $120 a team.
Yeah.
We did 120 because it's easily divided by 3, 4, and 5.
And every event does all of the skills games that we talked about. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we decided ultimately that we're doing basically a single LM bracket, right? For the event.
So we want to do a pool play.
Oh, okay.
So and then time permitting that can form into a bracket, but like the first event, the bracket part might not happen because people are like learning the game. The pool play portion might take a little bit longer.
Jimmy Gendro, very similar to cash events. So that was kind of a very early on initial concept, was like, look, we all go to tournaments and there's almost always cash events. And so like, if we can keep the cost to a certain point, like, we could just do everything as a cash event, but then we decided to be more structured and we'll run entries and payouts through Throw Pros just like we did Pro League Series. So it'll be, when we do payouts, it'll be cash on the spot, or check on the spot, that type of stuff. So.
The problem with doing actual cash event is that let's say that we do have a cap of 16 teams. Well, is it the first 16 people to run up to us and give us cash? Or is it like, oh, I saw Jimmy on Thursday night at the airport and he said he was going to sign up, but didn't have his 2 people yet. And then I don't save you a spot or whatever. So there needs to be some sort of structure to actually sign up if we're going to have caps.
Yeah. Or like Lucas and I are on a team, we both go to sign up and it's capped at 16 teams. Well, we took 2 spots and they're like, oh no, we're actually throwing together. We're on the same team. Well, now we only have 15 teams and we could have had another one.
So yeah, that's what I thought Sebastian was asking, and yeah, that's what he was asking. He just wanted to make sure that you do all of the games as a part of it, or if you sign up for each one individually, and it is.
No, yeah. So each of the challenges are an individual You're going to do all 3 games in 1 match.
And yes, Jimmy, a top form, which is
But that's the advantage of having more than 3 people. So if you have 3 people, those 3 people are pretty much throwing in everything. But if you have 4 or 5, you can swap people out during the relay. You can swap people out during different duel stuff.
yeah. So,
If we have 5 people, I never need to throw a knife.
yeah. So like if you have Tommy on the team,
You will if I throw like I did on Sunday.
you and Tommy are on a team with who knows whoever else. If you guys have more than 3 people, you're going to take Tommy out when it's time to throw hatchets.
And probably Big X and knife too. Like, does he do it?
Well, you'll put him back in for knife, but then take him back out for Big Axe, and then put him back in for knife, etc. So that's the other kind of advantage. We're working on like a scoring sheet and a couple of things to make it really easy. Sort of like also the rules and stuff that'll be on there with correct rules, not crossed out stuff like pro am and
No
half
guarantees
of them
on
crossed
that.
out.
No promises.
Probably
Maybe.
But,
there won't be a printed version that is different from a posted version online and confusion that way.
yeah, Jimmy, that's because he threw 100 times. He basically cheated. Yes, Tommy will do great verbally supporting the
verbal
opposite
support.
team.
No, yeah. I don't
He'll
know that
be
you call it
providing
support. He will be
other
verbal.
team. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of how skills are going. So that's the overall. The first game we kind of talked about with the splitting. What's the second event?
But yeah, so I guess we can just kind of briefly go over. So in the split, right, you have each team throws a duels throw at one of their kill shots. So like Lucas and I, we throw duels, whatever implement we're on, like it rotates implement round to round. We throw at our kill shot. We get 1 point per implement in that kill shot. So if we both hit it, we get 2 points. And then if we're playing against Tommy, Sebastian, and Jimmy, right, Tommy and Sebastian throw their duels, right, they get their points. And then Kyle on our team tries to split Sebastian and Tommy's implements. And Jimmy comes over and tries to split Lucas and I's implements. And you get points based on if you split and if you hit the kill shot. The second sort of challenge is broken up into 3 different duels matches. You've got your hatchet knife. You got your hatchet knife duels. You have your 1.5 hatchet and big axe duels, and you have big axe knife duels. Each of those is run as a set of 7. But each throw is just worth a point. Within that set, it's not, you don't maintain score. So like if we get a 12 and you get
drop
4, a drop, we won that throw.
Yeah.
So we're up 1-0.
Yeah.
Right. So if you win the best of 7, you win 4 throws, you get X amount of points. If you win all 7 throws, you get bonus points.
You're not going to break it, promise.
But you can end both throws in ties, and you can end the game in a tie, in which case no one would get points. And in that, you can't throw in more than 2. So that's why, again, you need 3 people there, because I'm only allowed to throw in 2. So if I throw in the hatchet knife and the twisted, I cannot throw in the big and knife duels. That would have to be a different teammate. So if you have 4 people, right, it's a little bit easier to finagle those. If you have 3, like there's only certain ways that you can combine them.
Yeah.
And then the last sort of challenge in the skills event is relay, which we're all very familiar with. And each round of relay, each time you win is worth a certain amount of points. And you can get to a point, you probably will get to a point in every game, right, where the match becomes out of reach. And once it's out of reach, it can end. Right, so relay is kind of the spot where you can come back the most. But if we're up 12 going into relay and we get to 1.5 spin hatchet, there's no way for you to make up that difference. So then the game can be called there.
Yeah.
And you can switch people out between rounds of relay. So again, if you have 3 people, then those are the 3 playing the entire relay because it's a 3-person game. But if you have more than 3, then you can switch out people between implements if you want.
What happens if, can you switch, like, let's say you lose a round of relay. Can you switch before the next round, before you start again?
Sure.
Okay. I assume so, but just want to clarify, like.
Hey, you're trying to take me out when I miss my kill shot.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, next.
Okay.
We'll take the next person. Anybody. But yeah, and by switch people out, we mean people on your team already. You can't, like, this isn't a select. You can't get somebody from the crowd to join your team.
Yes.
You got to use the people that you signed up with to do it. But yeah.
And eventually, after like a year of testing it and running these events at the beta, gamma, whatever, if you want to go through the whole alphabet, Kyle, we'll be able to do some sort of championship at the end, is the goal. We don't know how that will work yet or where it will be or what form that will take. I think for that, we'll probably have to limit the number of teams for one. And I think the first one would be, the preference would go to people who threw on a team at some point in the year.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. Just stay tuned.
But yeah. But just letting people know ahead of time is like, hey, if we have to limit this to 24 teams, then the first crack at signups are going to go to people who have done it. So if you want to like be part of it, get signed up.
Yep.
Do it. Do we think we're going to try and do any sort of sign up for this one?
Yes.
Like a drop form?
Yeah. I think we should. I think that'll make it a lot easier for us.
Yeah, like
I
something that
can agree.
probably gets released on Friday or Monday.
Oh, this Friday. I was like, the tournament starts on Friday. Gosh.
Day, and I don't think we can do the sign up after it's over. So
Well, yeah, Friday's the 23rd, Monday's the 26th. We don't start till the 1st. So.
yeah. We for some reason Tyler and I both went to the weekend.
Yeah, we both went to like, because you said Friday is like the Friday of the tournament. I mean, that's not, it could happen, I guess.
But be on the lookout. Well, if you're planning to go to Jolly Good Time,
yep.
Green Giant, whatever it is, then you can sign up.
Yeah.
I should also sign up for the tournament too, so that's a good idea.
See, if you had signed up early, then you would be in a drawing for a free hotel room.
Yeah, I think that was rigged.
Yeah, definitely rigged.
I didn't even.
So that was team skills. And then the last thing we had on our agenda was to talk about the Bullbag A365 again.
Oh yeah, Tyler got to.
Yeah, Tyler got to throw it. I got to throw it. Now I have.
I was gonna say I can give my opinions before you kick me off, or if you want to kick me off.
No,
you'll leave me on.
And then we're gonna kick you off, and then we're gonna be like, Tyler's opinion was stupid. No.
Perfect.
So Tyler got to throw it in Utah. And what were your first words that I think you said? I mean, or at least very quickly after you threw it.
I said that this axe rotated better than any axe I've ever thrown. Which is weird because every other person who's thrown it says that it over rotates like hell.
Yeah.
It does want to. But that doesn't mean it can be the best rotating axe you've ever thrown.
But I mean, just for me in particular, my throw, right, I will bang the handle on every single axe that I throw. And
Not that one.
And I did not handle bang that one. So in that sense, it did like rotate a lot more than my normal axes, right? But for me, that means sticking flush in the board. Like,
sure.
For everyone else, it means like almost not sticking.
Yeah, so I the very very first throw, because there was a handful of people before me that threw. They were all like, "Oh, it wants to go down. It wants to dive." So like the very first throw I threw with it, it did just that. Like I lined up just like I would with my normal hatchet at the bullseye, and threw a low. Well, no, I mean it was the throw was low, but it was a solid 3. Oh, okay, cool. Well, gotta fix that. But then the second throw, and then the third throw, and then every throw after that, like once you make a small adjustment, it did. It rotated very well. Like it wanted to over rotate to the point of being able to get like max coverage, which was great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, see, mine were landing flat in the board, but they were low. They were like it was diving, like you said.
I will say the prototype one was missing some handle at the top, just because it was a prototype for duels at one point. I think that the out of the box, like correct style handle, the way that they're coming, doesn't over rotate as much for me. But
I felt like it was almost the same.
or I've just gotten used to it
Used to it.
already, and like I know how it rotates. But I actually threw it really well. I threw it a handful of times this weekend because John was here for the tournament in Nashville, so he had some with him. He brought. He sold a few, actually quite a few. But overall consensus, I think the big thing for me was that I really like the texture of the handle.
Yeah, I was very surprised at that too, because I thought that I was gonna hate it. I thought it was gonna be super slick,
Same.
and it's not.
Thought it was going to be slick like a kill shot or a
Yeah.
whatever their
It
name
looks
is.
like it's going to be extremely slick.
Yeah, but
Like just looking at it, it just looks like that. But it was far less than I thought.
yeah, far less slippery than I thought, and I actually thought that it would be one of the most consistent textures too, because even a wood handle eventually absorbs some oil and things like that, and then it shouldn't actually swell and change as you travel and things, which I don't really have that much of an issue anymore, but I used to with an older handle. It would get sticky halfway through the day, or stuff like that, which I haven't really had that issue in a while. So not as super concerned, but this one shouldn't really ever have that issue from what I can tell.
Yeah, it feels like, especially now that like I threw it last night in league for my 12-foot, and it threw incredibly well. It just felt, especially for kill shots, like I felt like I was throwing a dart. It just kind of went where I wanted it to go. I think I hit 7 of 8 8-point kill shots and missed one completely. But I missed the top one completely. But the bottom ones were just like, it made low kill shots like a breeze. So hopefully that's not just like honeymoon stage, which it very well could be. But
It's back to my new axe theory.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh yeah, every time I threw a new axe, I do really well with it but I think it's just because you're focusing more, right? You're
100%.
thinking about the throw a lot more.
I will say that in
because
my practice
it's new,
throws,
and you have to.
in my practice throws, I started my first game practice throws. I threw my first 5 with the A365, and then I went back to 15. I should have did it the opposite way. Because like my first practice throw at the top left bullseye, damn near hit the top left kill shot. So just aimed a little higher and just went flying. I was like, ooh, I can't. Gotta remember, I'm throwing a totally different axe now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested now. I think I'd like to try it out for some duels and some stuff like that, and kind of see if it can maybe become a replacement. But I'm very slow to change anything, so
Yeah.
probably come soon.
Are you saying that consistency in your throwing implement might help you?
I wouldn't go as far to say that.
Okay, so I'm good to keep switching it up then.
Yeah, I would keep
That's
it.
not the thing that's hurting.
No,
Okay.
I actually think the reason that you won a lot of those big axe tournaments was that you were just like using a new axe every time.
Oh, actually, the string that I won, I did use the same axe every time. The first one, I used three different axes in that tournament.
Oh, but then you use the same one.
But then I used the same one that I won that I played in like the finals of that game
Oh, okay.
tournament. I used it the next several, except for the matches where I switched with my opponent.
Yeah. I think that was it. I think you're just giving yourself that little bit of break, and then you have to focus again. It's,
Oh, that's a
it's
good point.
yeah, I think
It's
it's a
big
strategy.
brain.
Yeah, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see, as people get them. I the only thing I can say so far is that I saw that there were a couple of blemishes on somebody's, and he'd already taken care of that. So I think that is cool. But otherwise, yeah, I'm interested to see how people like it and how it throws because a couple of my league members got them, and so I'm interested to see, their thoughts after a week or two. Um,
Well, tell him he can sell me the blemished one for cheap because I don't care
okay.
about blemishes. I
Yeah,
don't care what
yeah,
it looks like. It's just got to throw. Like
yeah.
it can be nicked up, scratched. I don't care.
That's always my thing too. When people are like, "Oh no, mine has a scratch on it," I'm like, "It's probably going to get a scratch on it if you're going to
Yeah,
throw it, especially if you're ever going to
mental.
play duels or something." Like the one side of my axe is rough, and the back of it, don't.
Just the duels or the big axe that I was using for a really long time. You can see it. I always tap on the left side of the axe, and you can see that side is all pockmarked just from like tapping axes with people,
Did you
and
just
the
pull?
other side is completely smooth.
Did you just pull that world championship trophy out of that potted plant behind you?
Basically, I got a whole stack of them.
Just sitting on the floor. You know.
Oh, do you not just have piles of trophies, Kyle?
Yeah,
They're
hold on.
like they're like up above like my desk and stuff.
Oh, you like display
Or
them.
or
They're not
they're
just in a huge box on your desk bed.
Yeah, you don't just have like a random pile of
or
them.
they're like
Look at this one. So this was the first one, and this one's
Melee
like
world champion.
this one's like actually used and stuff because I took it to my ITF league the week after.
You used it in an IATF league?
Yeah.
John and I used our trophies from the first PLS for our practice throw in Twisted Duels on
Yeah,
ESPN.
that was awesome.
You see that?
Yeah.
That's the back of Hayden's King went in there when we won this one.
Oh yeah, Jay, don't watch.
Yeah. Close your eyes. What else I got? Oh, I got this one too. Tyler, close your eyes.
Oh yeah, that's sad.
Hold on, I got a couple more back here. What else I got? Oh, I do really like this sax. I like
Actually,
this.
Jenny was throwing backs in league for a while. My one from Ragnarok.
This one.
Yeah. Where'd you get that axe from?
Ragnarok.
Oh, that's what was that? A $3,000 axe?
Yeah, something like that.
That makes sense.
Well, last thing I have in this pile, I got a box of other trophies, but I got a knife, an alien looking knife.
Ooh, what you got? That
Oh, this is
Where'd you get that?
from Ragnarok.
Oh, so
That's from Ragnarok.
Is that a $2,000
What's that?
knife?
No, God, shut up.
Okay. That knife would probably catch cans really good.
Yeah,
That's
That is a cool knife.
That's the same shape that Mac uses. That kind
It is
of
a-
personal one.
wouldn't have helped me with my aim games because the blade's too big.
That was like the fourth tournament in a row where I came in second to you in knife. Really just trying to get my knife win.
I think that might have been the one where you dropped on the last throw and I just easily won. Here's
No,
one.
that was Cap City.
Yeah, that was Cap City. That was early on.
Yeah, that was the first tournament of the year, and I thought I was going to meet my goal in like the first tournament, And then
You're gonna get your goal out of the way immediately. That wouldn't have been any fun. Oh my gosh.
yeah. I had to.
Hey,
Ooh,
guys.
I got the first place one of those
That's why I brought this out just for you.
when I did
Is
finally
that
get my
what you
first
chopping that
place.
tree down your backyard with?
Yep. I got a box of things over here.
If we were in my other guest bedroom, I could pull out a bunch of shit. Oh, I think I've got the other half of the trophy that you just brought out. That is on my desk. The other half.
Hey, yeah. What's that one say?
It says that Lucas lost juice duels.
Yeah. Listen,
No, that one was
I don't actually know whose fault it is when we lose.
no.
We did. I don't know if you were on yet, but I was telling Kyle I think we threw
Because the
more
problem is
12.
we don't miss at the same time. Like that's what we need to do. We need to both start missing at the same time and then hit at the same time. Because like you like in the last one, like you kept missing your kills, which is what we got knocked down to be. And then I couldn't hit a bullseye in the next game. So
Yeah, we're not on the same kill cycle. We gotta get synced up next time.
I
But
heard you just have to like be around a person for a long amount of time and it just syncs your kill cycles. Is that
Yep.
how that works?
pretty much. But all right. I don't think I don't have anything else. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's all we got
Well,
on this
big thanks to
Wednesday
Tyler.
afternoon.
what was that?
Thanks to Tyler Flynn for joining us on this episode.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff. Riveting.
Yeah, the team skill stuff. We hope to have a sign up form for those going to Texas next week, and yeah, we'll try to have it on Friday. If not Friday, hopefully early next week on Monday, we'll have it. And
we'll try to film like the little spiel at the beginning too, so we can put that out to anyone who wants to try it and film some games and stuff too.
yeah, I could probably get some people together and record a rough version by then, but it might be easier for.
Oh, did you mean before the thing starts, or did you mean Tyler film it while we're there so we have video footage afterwards?
I think we should film some of the matches while we're there, and also like we'll probably do like a little like 10-minute brief rundown of the games and scoring that we can film that too.
Yeah, we can try and do something like that.
Yeah, my guess is that Sam will have a streamline set up. So we would have like a normal stream visual of at least a lane, and then we can do some like B-roll of the other stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I finally got to throw a knife league too. I forgot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I threw a knife marathon Saturday. Probably the only reason I did well on Sunday because I hadn't really thrown knives since PLS. Because I didn't really get to throw knives in Arizona.
Sure. I've been throwing knives very poorly in league. Does that count?
I mean, you're in 14th place. That's pretty good.
Am I really?
Yeah.
Which league? Axe House or Timber Beast?
I don't know.
Your highest one?
Yeah, what's in, bud? No,
Well, it's. I hope it is not Axe House because, I missed like 3 kills one week and then I just decided to go for all of them and just like started fucking around. So
it's,
if that was my good one, I just blew it on this Monday. So
it's Axe House.
good.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't have fucked around then. Got it.
Yeah. The problem is knife still has such a huge variance. Like
Sure.
between first and first and 50th is a 10-point difference
Oh, that's wild.
in average, right?
Which
Okay,
is
so
which is why
I
the
did not-
seating
I did
for
not-
the, like that's why the seating for knife was so wild to me.
Yeah.
Like there was such like all of last year, like the fact that Lucas was for a while, one of the few that had a 50 average, and like he was showing up to tournaments and he was seeded like 7th, was ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, that was frustrating sometimes. But yeah, it drops. It's like 51, 51, 50, and then there's a 3-point drop to 4th place. It goes to 48.
So I think I was around 48-ish somewhere. Through 2 weeks at Timber Beast, I had like a 51.5, but then I screwed it up.
Yeah, like you and and maybe your other one will be higher, but it's just showing this one because this one's already finished.
Oh, I think my Timber Beast one is higher,
Okay,
average wise.
34. Your other one, it actually doesn't even show your other one. Oh, there it does. Yeah, yeah. You're only at 766, so you still got time to screw that one up even more, or make it better.
answer is yes,
Oh.
Jimmy.
Well, it's not going to be better.
It's not gonna be better.
The answer is yes. Jimmy Grundle said, "Oh, since Tyler is on here, so it's better for your rating to go for kills and outer hit or miss than to just throw middle."
Yes, so that's why there's no requirement to go for like the 28 kills to make Pro League, because the way the rating is set up, it is very advantageous to your rating to be going for kills because those sixes are bigger, and while average is a big part of your rating, so is hitting sixes and eights is much better for you. So if you only hit 2 sixes per game, like your rating is going to be pretty low. But even if you can up that to 4 by going for the outers and kill shots, then that'll really improve your rating. The eights multiplied by 2 is not a huge swing. Like that's not going to really make or break.
It's worthwhile.
It's worthwhile. Like those 2 points do add up, right? If you can hit 38s in a season, that's 60 points. Which is going to bump you up several seeds. But mathematically, like, as long as you don't hit more than 2 threes in a game, and you hit at least 1 outer 6 when you're going for them, your rating will be better by going for the outer bullseyes.
I think I've just decided that I don't care about the rating part.
Yeah, that's the thing for me too, is it's actually kind of nice that I used to be like very concerned with hitting a certain number. And now like I don't really know how one game is going to affect my rating. So it kind of takes that piece out of it and just makes me focus on the one game.
Here's one thing that I was curious about, Tyler. So like in the past, if you were required to throw kill shots, or if you wanted to make Pro League, you had to throw kill shots. But let's say you threw 28 kill shots, but you missed a bunch of kill shots, and you didn't throw kill shots in another league, and so your average was higher in that league. So that's the league that counted for your league, and now you didn't get into Pro League because of that.
Correct.
So Jimmy says, I was attempting everything and doing tournament rules in one and then just throwing the middle in the other. How does that affect?
So
if his average is higher because he just went in the middle, but his other where he attempted the other stuff was a better rating, but it had a lower average. Is the highest rating what counts?
Yes. Yeah. So your highest rated season should eventually be what shows up on the leaderboard. They are working on that now.
Cool.
So currently you might have a better rated season that doesn't show up on the leaderboard. And even now it's not perfect because in all the other disciplines, right, it just shows your highest total score. Meaning that even if I have a league that I'm doing terrible in on Mondays, it's always going to show up over a Thursday night league.
Yeah.
until Friday. So it doesn't really, it's not helpful for people trying to see where they land average wise, because I could have, my beer league on Monday night where I throw all kills and miss them all and do terribly. I'm not even showing up in the top 50 averages based on my Monday, but on Thursday I do. Which means that when you look on Wednesday to see where you are, like there's people missing who could be missing from that leaderboard, which will be less of a thing when you start using rating as the factor.
Yeah.
Because that won't change significantly week to week.
Correct.
Like people will move up and down based on like hit kills and like maybe they threw a really good week, so their average went up a little bit. But your rating is not going to like your rating after 12 games and your rating after 16 games are probably going to be similar.
Yeah.
So Jason Kearney asks, are we seeing more people throw 1.5 from 15 or a second hatchet from 15? Do you have a preference or see an advantage either way? I think more people are switching axes and throwing single rotation. Especially in tournaments. In tournaments, it's
like, still a decent number doing 1.5. I will say that the people throwing 1.5 tend to be people placing in the top 6, but not winning.
Yeah, I would say that it's probably 4 out of every 5 people are throwing one spin.
The last tournament in Utah, second and third place were throwing 1.5.
Dang.
Which Lucas still goes that they weren't winning. Lucas won, but
losers.
Yeah, so I really like 1.5. I think I can my aim is better with 1.5. The problem is the height. If I can figure out the height and get the right axe to like both get the rotation and the height right, I might switch to 1.5.
Yeah.
But
before we get too far off, I just wanted to complain about the rating system. Okay. I think that there's a really easy way to, and I kind of posted about it yesterday because somebody asked. I think there's a really easy way to improve your rating, but not really make yourself throw much better. So like, I think you can kind of falsely kind of improve your numbers. You can kind of pump those up and get yourself a good rating by going for your kills from the first 5.
I don't know that that's necessarily actually true. So I was thinking about this.
No.
Because
whatever you're about to say is wrong. But
I think that those 2 points for hitting the 8 aren't that important.
The difference, right?
What? The biggest piece of your rating is your like 6-8 percentage.
Correct.
Right. And the 6 is bigger on the kill shot.
Correct.
So I find I can almost always at least hit like my 6 percentage from 15 is at least equal to my 8 percentage from 12. And those 6s are bigger.
Yep.
And I think I can hit the smaller 6s from 12 a lot easier.
Okay.
Well, I think you will hit more 6s if you actually take them from the back half than the front half. Which is the biggest piece of the rating.
I don't think that that's the case for 90.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
That's what I was about to say. So I think that but also I do think that even those top people would be pretty much in the same. I think that it's still, you can kind of artificially pump up your rating by going for it on 4 and 5. Like if you look at the people that are in the top 10 that went for 6 kills, then I think you would see that all of them went for all of their kills from the front.
Yeah, I know Tishko did. Neil Russ doesn't, though. I think he goes 5-10.
No way. Don't believe it. Not for a second.
I go 5-10.
I'll go back and look at his games, find out. But I bet
I go 5-10 at Axe House, and I've hit more 8s from 15 than I have from 12.
Yeah, but
I also have missed completely more from 15 than I have from 12. So like,
that's what I'm saying. I think that yes, you can definitely hit the 6 or the 8 if you're going to hit, because you have a 50% chance of hitting the 8 if you hit the kill.
I think it's different, even though it's half the size. The volume is different.
Different.
Okay, but not by much. It's like we did the math. It's like 42% or something, but essentially 50 with touch rules. If you're inside of the kill, you have a really good chance.
Because it's a bigger 6, so you are improving your chances to hit the 6.
You are, but you're also, I mean, for your average, you're also not hurting yourself because you would have had an even bigger 5. So I know the average still plays a part in it. So from the back, you still have a better chance of hitting 5s. But the main thing is that I think you're going to see people get seated slightly higher than where they really are in skill level, because those people are not going to throw kills from the front at a tournament. So it's almost like you're giving them an apples rating.
Which is why the rating system needs to take tournaments into account eventually.
Correct. But I also understand why it doesn't, because even if you had figured out a perfect formula that you were happy with, maybe not perfect, but a formula that worked and you thought did account for certain things, you would still have the issue of buys or out of reach games where somebody throws it a kill and misses, right? So it would have to be purely based upon where they finished, not necessarily what.
Well, yeah, that's why like I think any calculation for rating in a tournament should only take 2 variables into account: where you finished versus where you were expected to finish.
Yeah.
And that gets really tough when you get to like the top 4. Because like if you're the first seed, right, you still have to be able to get points for winning and probably coming in the top 3 even.
Yeah.
So like you can't lose that many points for coming in.
Another thing that I think should be added to the rating is a penalty for 4s and 2s.
Oh, okay.
Because, and I think that that's logically sound too. Because
I do too.
If you are going for the outer ones and you miss by more than your opponent, I think that you should get penalized, right? So like if I'm going for even the center and I throw a 4, I missed by more than you did if you were going for an outer and you still hit a 4.
Right.
Like,
but did you?
Sorry,
are you gonna have to measure?
No. 100%. If you throw for an outer and you get a 3, is what I meant to say. But if you throw a 3 and somebody who's going for the center and they get a 4, they 100% miss by more than you.
Yeah.
We don't need a measuring tape. But I think that a 4 and a 2 should be more of a penalty for your rating.
Ooh. That does just remind me one thing that I wanted. No one has mentioned this yet, but if you look at the tournament standings, I created 2 new stats. Instead of having like bullseye percentage and kill shot percentage, because there's like different variables in there, and like having a better bullseye percentage doesn't mean that you threw better, because like if all of my misses were in the 5 though, and you were throwing 2s and 3s and 4s and whatever, right? Yeah. Were you actually throwing better, like percentage wise? I don't think so.
That's essentially that was my knife problem before. Right? With bullseye percentage at one point, and it was like, yeah, but if I stuck 3 5s and my opponent threw 4 6 or even dropped 4 6, their percentage was better than mine. That made no sense.
So I have what's called a standard throw average, which is all of your throws that were taken at a bullseye. What did you average per axe thrown at a bullseye?
Yeah.
And then same thing for kill shot. Like when you threw at the kill shot, what average were you throwing? Like what, on average, how many points did you score when you threw at a kill shot?
Yeah, average. You're just your average score per throw.
So real quick, Eric Botterell says, "Wait, you're not throwing kills from the front in a tournament?" ? Watching the scores, ... seemed to be a lot of zeros on the front half. Was it agreed upon beforehand prior to throwing? I don't know that at a single tournament, like
I've seen people go from the front. It really depends.
Very few though.
I've not seen very many.
Yeah, not enough to say it seems like there's a lot of zeros on the front half.
Having,
I think if you're
thrown-
seeing zeros on the front half, you're seeing people who screwed up and hit something that they shouldn't have. Trying to
Possibly.
throw a safe 4 and they accidentally hit a 5 or a bull.
Now, I've thrown a kill shot in the front when I've hit a 3, and I know I'm going against someone who's just as good at me from 15. Maybe I'll go up for that kill on 5. Rarely am I going for 2.
Sure.
I've thrown one. Yeah, out of only thrown really 2 advanced rules tournaments, but I've thrown 1 kill from the front, and it was because I was winning by like 2, and Nick K went for a kill and hit an 8. At the same time, I threw a 3, so now he was winning by 3, and I was like, well, this game's basically over unless I hit my kill and he throws a 5, and then we can be tied. And actually, I think he went kill and I went kill. He hit a 6 and I hit an 8, so I was only losing by 1.
But see, in
Well,
that,
losing by
in
one
that
and had a kill.
situation,
Like,
in that situation, you guys had both already thrown kill shots going into the back.
I had 1 left still.
Oh, you did have one left.
I don't like throwing them both from the front because I don't like not having something as like a comeback mechanic if I need it in my pocket in the back.
Yeah, well, I mean, I also think even throwing 1 up front is not good for you to do, just because, like, if you're just doing it to catch up 2 points, like, the risk reward, especially throwing against, like if you're not starting with the center bullseye, like, there's a pretty good chance they might throw a 3, you throw a 5, and the 2 points you gained by throwing a kill and hitting an 8 to their 6 didn't matter at all. You just simply wasted a chance to go ahead.
Even the people that, if you exclude the people that have hit, 50 plus out of 56, which is, like 5 to 10 people, everybody else, I think the average for your kill shots is maybe, 70% is probably a really good thrower. 70%. That means that 30% of the time they miss. And that means that 30% of the time the kills are, the kill just lost you the game. If you 30% of the time you're going to miss, that just means that the game is.
So Eric said, for example, in the finals, Dylan threw a 0 on the front half. Dylan was one of the few people who were throwing kills from the front.
And
Yeah,
what ended up being the final score in that game is, I think, why I personally will not go for them.
Right, because what was happening was what I was saying. Is he was using his kill shots to try to keep it tied or close to, and then he didn't have the extra kill shots in the back.
I think actually, I saw him using them to actually gain a lead.
Yeah, I mean but same thing. If you're doing it to gain a 2-point lead, and you throw a 5 in the back, and he throws a 3, what was the point of just the 2 points? I would much rather like have 2 kill shots in the back.
Yeah, I think everybody should go for kills from the front.
yeah, do it.
But I'm with Jimmy. He said earlier, I think that the outer ones, I know it would take longer, but in a realistic format, I think it would be awesome if they could be called.
Because the chance that you hit the spot in your game where your 20% miss comes into play, then you get a 0 and you get no points, and that's a bigger lead for the opponent.
Yeah, 20% of the time on throw 5, the game is over. Especially
if you don't understand the law of averages, watch Lucas's games where he loses. Those are the ones where his average is he's hitting his misses.
Well, it's just about when you miss. I mean, that's why we moved Big X to 7 throws, right? Because too often, like, it basically the first 4 throws in Big X do not matter with 5 throws.
I wouldn't have paid
at least
attention
among the
to
top 200 people.
I wouldn't have paid attention to any of the percentage things, but after listening to you two discuss it in both Arizona and Utah, and actually paying attention to it in Utah, like, when people are due for misses, it's almost exactly what their percentages say. So when Lucas was missing, he was missing because he was at his spot. He had just thrown a run of 80% or 90% everything, and then he hit his 20%.
Yeah.
But yeah, calls aren't going to happen anytime soon, Jimmy.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're also talking about like the new game does it like may catch it a little longer. If you had to call every single throw with the judge, we're talking
It would be
20,
really
30-minute games.
It's quick. It would be quicker to judge because you can just be like, yeah, you missed the whole thing. Like, all right. No, I think there's going to be something creative.
I think that there's other solutions that are simpler than called bowls.
Yeah, and I think
Out there.
I don't know that Tyler has come up with it yet. It was we've talked about like this is a problem or there's a way to fix this, but we haven't talked about any of the solutions yet. But I think that there will be something else that happens in the future that will hopefully eliminate the fours, because I know originally Tyler was like, yeah, I think as people get better, that's going to become less of an issue, but all it's going to do is actually, right now it affects the top 10 people because they're not hitting fours, but then it affects the next 10 people because as they begin to not hit fours, now when they play an opponent that does hit fours,
I think your
it
top
affects
10 is way too big. Didn't last
which is actually like
it's like the top 4 people.
the people that are hitting
people brought up like
it'll just continue to move down and it'll affect all of the people. It'll affect opponents that aren't as consistent as who they're playing. So if you're playing somebody that's less consistent than you, that'll be the way that you get affected. It even happened this weekend when I was throwing against Gustin from the front. He threw a 4 that was almost a 5, but just slightly right. It ended up bleeding into the 4. So I hit a 5 on that throw, but it was just funny because I had just been complaining about it and then he did it on accident. And so like it's always going to be there. I think
part of it is you just make misses worth 3. Like,
yeah,
and that could just be a thing. Like that could be the easiest solution. That is the reason people talked about like doing the cross instead of the X for the extra ball dice. And that was the big reason, is because when you did it as a cross, when you missed these ones, you were more likely going to be a 4. And when you missed these ones, you were going to be a 3. So this way, like 90% of misses on the outer bowl sides are 3s. But you're right. Like that, there's still, it would be nice if that was 100.
The difference is also though that if you do every miss is a 3, like you won't know if, like I won the tournament at Utah by throwing a 4 on purpose.
That is true. Yeah.
So there's not a perfect solution that gets you out of it to where the 4 is not counted on an accidental, but leaves it available to still utilize strategically.
But
I think
is that
percentage
small enough to matter?
Well,
that's what we need to figure out.
Because
that's
for example, our match in Arizona.
Yeah.
My accidental 4s happened at the time you hit your miss percentages.
But
so like that percentage of like that happening small?
Once people learn the game, like Lucas had a decision when you threw a 4. One, he should have let you throw first, which I'm not sure if he did or not.
I'm pretty positive I threw first. Actually, I'm pretty positive we threw like so close that it wouldn't have mattered.
So if Lucas is up 3 and you throw a 4, right? He has a decision. Does he just stay up 3? Like, because he could have just then thrown a 4 and stayed up 5.
Sure.
Like the onus is on you to hit your targets. He can easily hit a 4 and keep that 5-point lead. By trying to extend that lead by hitting the outer bowls, which is a decision, right? That risk does come into play. I do think it'll matter less too if people are a little bit better. But that's why I'm cautious to like say or make any changes, like say what I think a change should be or anything like that now, because we are a month and a half in.
Yeah.
With very limited data.
I think that you're correct that it will start to matter less for I think it's just going to move.
Us at the top level. Yeah.
Right
but then
now,
it'll matter more for, yeah. I see what you're saying.
it almost doesn't matter right now for like if Dylan and I play a game. Like if
The
either
only
of us,
times when I think it does matter, and this is like so rare, right? Like we're tied going in to throw 8,
yeah,
and I hit a 4 and you hit a 3.
right.
Because my miss was worse, right? Like
Yeah, and I think it's
that's a frustrating scenario that I don't.
yeah. There's still a chance that that can happen. I
Right.
think, but I think it's less likely to happen 6 months from now for those top people.
Right.
Still think it's a possibility. Because the other annoying thing would be if on throw 9 you went for the outer, one of us has to throw first, right? And just you barely miss, and I'm just a jerk, and I just throw a 4.
Sure. But I think that can come to like. I also think that that's a bad decision because
Well, if it's throw 9,
like if you can be up 3 going into kill shots,
yeah. But if you can guarantee that you're up 1 versus no guarantee that you're up 2, 1 or 2 doesn't change anything for me on that decision.
no. But if I can hit a 6, then I'm up 3.
That's still risky if you don't have your center.
Sure, but like so if you've already thrown a 3, I think I'd still go outer bull.
Oh, I am still going outer bull.
Oh, but
I'm-
all right, yeah. That's what you're saying about like at the top levels that doesn't matter, but like at other levels, people might say, "Oh, I have a chance to get a 1-point lead."
Right.
Like,
and at that point, if people are hitting lots of 3s, then they also probably are not hitting their kills. So now
Sure.
that 3 just cost them the game because the other person took the safe way out and threw a 4.
I actually think it would be more of a thing in the amateur division, where like those like 8s are a little bit more automatic for kills, right? Like where you can almost expect to hit at least a 6, if not an 8.
Yeah, like I think there's going to be levels to it. I think that level is just going to change throughout the year to where it does kind of affect top people now, but it will become less and start to move down the leaderboard in terms of skill level that it starts to affect. But I don't know. That was just my. I think originally we were talking about rating, but
Yeah, I do actually have to go now.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were talking about that like 45 minutes ago. We went off on a tangent.
Get rid of the add a penalty for 4s and 2s.
The rating. All right. I think that's a good. Well, we'll talk about that at the end of this year. We'll have like community feedback on rating and things like that. We're definitely not changing anything to that mid-year. That's bad.
Okay. That Saturday, Friday, Saturday. I don't know. Whichever day you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it this week.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Deuces.
All right, we'll see you, Tyler.
All right, that was Tyler Flynn. Now back to us, and I think we're going to call it a show, right?
Yeah.
That's everything.
Are we actually at an hour?
Oh, we're at almost 2 hours.
It must have been when I refreshed my restream because it shows me just an hour.
Oh, yeah. 1 hour, 54 minutes on the nose.
Well, that was Tyler's fault.
For sure. But it was all worth it. Thanks to Tyler for joining us. And we've got jolly good time next weekend in Texas at Drenger, the 29th through the 4th. At least that's what our flight schedule is. But 29th through the 4th, we'll be there. So we'll do probably not another podcast until after that. But until then, we'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Adios. And morning with Andy. I use 2 different